The Denver Nuggets over the past decade have figured out the formula to maximize Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. It pretty much comes down to surrounding them with athletes, defenders, and shooters. In their championship run, both KCP and Bruce Brown checked all those boxes. Then jumping ahead, Aaron Gordon turned himself into one of the best third options in the NBA before his injury. But another guy for Denver who was fitting that mold was Peyton Watson, who in his first 3 years was a very defensive focused wing, while making improvements as a shooter and off-ball cutter. But since Jokic went down with his injury, we've seen Watson take on a lot more responsibility as a ball handler and playmaker. And in Denver's last 5 games, he's averaging over 24 points with really good efficiency. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive on the film to try to figure out just how good this new version of Peyton Watson is, and whether or not this will change anything for Denver going forward. Now, before we go over what exactly has changed since Nikola Jokic left the lineup, the first thing we have to start with is Watson's outside shooting. So far this year, he's shooting just under 40% from 3, and over this recent span of games, that number has been even higher.
5 assists, Watson for 3, good!
Now, as an outside shooter, I wouldn't say Watson has the most dynamic game. He's not going to create space off a live dribble or aggressively blast off screening actions. But when shooting off the catch, he does have very fluid mechanics. His feet are always set, and he brings the ball up with no wasted movement. Plus, he does have the footwork and balance to move and relocate to open spots. As the ball is coming downhill here, watch him create this passing angle by shifting down towards the corner. Along with that ability to relocate off the ball, Watson can also space out well behind the line. This right here is a 30-foot bomb that he takes with no hesitation. So Watson just being able to space the floor and knock down open looks at a 40% clip is more than enough to make him a valuable piece in the Nuggets system. But along with that, Payton also has the built and physical tools to be an elite play finisher. First, he does really good work hovering around the dunker spot, where if there's any breakdowns at the point of attack and his man gets pulled up towards the action, he can close off plays with easy catch and finishes. And Watson also has a really good feel of timing these cuts. Again, as his man here gets pulled up towards the ball, watch him fill behind here for an easy 2 points. The Nuggets can also plug Payton into a variety of screening actions. He can set screens on the ball and dive towards the basket, or be injected into different off-ball sets. I love this action here, where he first sprints across the set of flare screen to then just dive right in front of the rim. Off the ball, Watson also thrives off momentum. If he catches with the head of steam going towards the basket, he just has overwhelming length and explosiveness. This is a simple give and go, where Watson first pitches the ball up to Valanciunas, to then run through this pass and get the ball back at the nail. And as RJ Barrett tries to rotate down and cut off his angle, look how Watson is going to lift up on 2 feet and flow past him to his left. So Watson both being a reliable floor spacer and having the tools to be an elite off-ball cutter makes him an easy piece to plug in alongside Denver's core. You have an athletic and versatile wing defender on one end that can also provide efficient offense as a floor spacer and cutter on the other end. But again, since Nikola Jokic went down, we've seen a totally different side to Watson's game offensively. First, he's looked much more confident attacking off a live dribble. If defenses are stepping out and pressuring him at half court, he's had the composure to protect the ball and find angles to get blow-bys. I love everything about this play, where he's first going to beat his man by pocketing the ball and splitting his stance, creating this north to south blow-by. But before he gets below the arc, notice how he veers back into contact. And this allows him to keep space in front of the rim to then charge up and explode towards the basket. We'll see him hit a similar move here against Paul George, where he again splits his stance, but look how he's now going to extend with that off arm, pulling himself into this drive. And again, when he has all the speed going towards the basket, he's got the length to extend past the help and put up a soft finish. In the half court, Watson's also very good at attacking into gravity off the catch by running through the pass and knifing into open space. And the thing is, once he gets into the lane, I feel like his footwork and balance is really underrated. Look how he's initially going to space up towards half court here, giving himself this runway to charge that Donovan Mitchell. But as he hits his push cross back to his left, look how he has the control to gather and decel off that right foot.
100 threes and 4 of his last.
The Nuggets have also been letting Watson get some reps out of pick and roll, and to me it all boils down to space and matchups. If he's able to turn the corner, that length, control, and explosiveness can be overwhelming. Look how Denver here is going to clear out the ball side corner. So Watson has all of this space to charge at and beat once he turns the corner. I love his patience and feel on this play, where Philly initially switches the screen, but watch him pull the ball out and reset. And again, with the help loaded up towards the middle and the ball side corner empty, the open space for Watson is right here. And look how he sets up this drive by attacking hard to his left to then spin back over to his right. Now off the bounce, Watson also does a ton of damage in transition, and this is where everything comes back to those physical tools. Again, he's lengthy, has bounce, and can explode off 1 or 2 feet, which gives him a lot of options when he gets the defense backpedaling. Watch him mid-stride here push the ball across to his right, to then flow into a Euro step back towards the middle, and he's going to slam the brakes off that left foot and float up for a vertical finish. The way he both covers ground here and initiates contact is crazy, where he gathers the ball from beyond the circle, and with just 2 steps he's able to veer into Bam's body to then extend out with his left to finish. So because Watson both has the skill to break down the defense and the tools to finish in traffic, he's often pulling a crowd towards the paint once he beats the first line of defense, and that opens up windows for these routine kickout passes. And while I wouldn't say Watson right now is a super advanced passer, he still has enough feel to read the help and make the right pass out. And what's been really exciting to me is that he's also developing the feel to read the weak side of the floor. From the block, this is a nice skip past the opposite corner. Now, because Watson is kind of new to attacking and creating off a live dribble, there are lots of elements to his game that are raw. First, he does need to get better at reading the floor and picking the right spots to attack. He'll often put the ball down and force the issue through traffic, or just misread the floor entirely. When his first drive to his right gets cut off, he's going to transition into a post-up. But with Maxey sitting right here and help, that's an easy steal from behind. I also think Watson's handle and pace has a lot of room for improvement too. If he has to put together combinations, he'll often cough up the ball. And if teams put 2 defenders on him, it is pretty easy to speed him up. But things like this are typical for any young player who gets a big jump in usage. So from a bird's eye view, when looking at everything that Watson brings to the table, Denver low-key has a pretty versatile offensive piece. He's shooting over 40% from behind the line, he's got the athletic tools to be an elite slasher off the ball, plus the skill on the ball to put pressure on the defense with a live dribble. All that combined with Watson being a plus defender makes him one of the best plug-in and play guys across the league.
The defender flies by. Watson.
Now, when Jokic gets back in the lineup, I do think it's going to most likely be business as usual. But at the same time, I do think Peyton Watson playing with the ball in his hands does give the Nuggets offense a different wrinkle. He'll take more pressure off Murray in the non-Jokic minutes, and him playing with the ball in his hands with Denver starting 5 can add another layer to their offense. Him and Jokic could develop a 2-man game where you have an elite slasher playing downhill with the best roll threat in the NBA, or they could use him as a passing hub, while Jokic sets screens and creates breakdowns off the ball. I think Peyton Watson in general playing more aggressively gives this offense a lot more versatility.